In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Pogs and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello, and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and you may notice that my voice sounds horrible, and I also look horrible, and that's because I feel horrible.
What's new? Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Good zinger.
low-hanging fruit. It was the easy go-to, but
Yep. You walked into that one.
I'm literally coming off the tail end of a 4-day cold, one of the worst colds I've ever had in my life. For the last 2 days, I physically couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep. Every time I laid down, it would just, so I had to sleep standing up. It's like sitting on the couch. That's the only sleep I've got. So it's going to be a short stream today, guys.
I'm all down for that. I've got a bit of a headache myself.
Yeah, I might even do this. You're just gonna have to deal with it. We're gonna have some. Oh yeah, because that hurts. But I've got my cup of hot apple cider, which is the only thing keeping my esophagus open. Oh, it's too hot. That's why I was late. I was boiling this to the point of no return. I was ready. I was down here talking, and I realized, oh shoot, I drank all of my apple cider, and I'm not going to make it through the stream. But you may notice it's in this wonderful, technically Mexican mug, which you can get if you too are sick and need the refreshing embrace of diversity.
Wow, for loco.
For loco. I would die.
You would die
Can you still hear me, by the
literally.
way?
What?
Sounds like you can. It looks like
Yeah.
you can. Okay, good.
We can.
'Cause I connected you to my headphones.
We can hear
which
you.
seemed to be the only difference last week that was causing a problem. Even though I don't know, whatever. So as long as it's working, we're good.
Anyway, there's two different mugs. This is a left-handed mug because of the way my setup is set up. I have to hold my mug from the left side, but there's a right-handed mug too.
Lefties
So
are
David,
from the
do you
devil.
think that I should get that for Hannah? Because she always loves left-handed things. She loves, like, she's a big left-handed person. Do you think she'd want that mug?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I love your wife, but she does not. I don't think she loves me.
Very, very different perspectives on things. Yep, that's for sure.
Anyway, the show's called Best Gen. Because we're all from the same gen and it's better than yours, and because our movies are good and yours are bad. So we're going to talk about some movies. It's a slow week too. There's not a lot to talk about. There's some TV going on. I've been sick, so I watched a lot of movies that I can just talk about. None of them were good because it was just like I'm on the residuals of my 1 month Netflix subscription.
Yep, same here.
So I've been watching a bunch of Netflix movies.
Oh, you got it for
I
the
haven't,
nerd
while
morning.
you got
haven't
it,
found a good Netflix movie yet. Okay.
While you've got it, one that I'll recommend, and it's not particularly family friendly. It's definitely got a lot of violence and gore. got a little bit of animated nudity, but is Blue Eye Samurai.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
only a couple episodes in, but I've heard really, really good things, and so far I've really been enjoying it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I watched the first episode of One Piece, which I was very impressed with.
Mm-hmm.
That was really stunningly beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, and the main character, he's like so
Too-
infectiously optimistic.
Almost
like, that's
infuriatingly optimistic, and yet you still like him.
Yeah.
That's what makes it work. It's like it's normally the kind of dialogue that would become grating, but his performance
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
freaking good
And
that you can't help but just instantly love his character. It is shocking to me how much I loved Luffy's character, because he felt like a character that I would just hate.
True.
Mhm.
I hate, like, to be honest, I hate his character in the anime. Like, I've tried to watch the anime many times because everyone is like, oh, One Piece is the best of the anime, whatever. And I'm like, dude, like, okay, I'm 70 episodes in and I still have to like the guy. And it's impossible. But in this show, this guy, who is Mexican, by the way,
Oh man, your audio
Yeah,
just
no.
cut out.
Yeah,
Oh.
But I will say that I think the difference between the I'm sure it gets better, but I've watched like the first like 5 episodes of the anime too. I think the problem is the difference between Luffy's character is he's quirky on both ends, right? He's quirky and unpredictable and silly, but in the anime so far, it comes off as mean-spirited.
Mm.
Like he's kind of just messing with people because he's chaotic neutral, you know, and not because. The live action is he's
really good.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
So he has the same
Yeah.
quirks, but it's
So much more
It's for-
genuine. So much
it's
more
genuine. Yeah.
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 And what I was gonna say,
Like he's
I don't
kind of mean. The guy who's the guy's name? The weird little kid. He's kind of like really mean to him in the anime at first. So
Mm.
Really.
sorry, I interrupted you, Max.
oh yeah, can you hear me now better? Or
Yeah.
Better.
oh yeah, and he's in another show on Netflix, where he plays another character. The show is absolute garbage. You know, he's one of those woke wannabe X-Men shows, literally, where he plays a werewolf. But he's like chupacabra, you know, because he's Mexican, obviously. No, cannot be a regular werewolf. Has to be a chupacabra. And he steals the show. Like the show is completely garbage. You just want to see what goes on with this kid, and that's where I met Iñaki Godoy, and that's why I knew that this guy was gonna be so good for Monkey D. Luffy. Yeah.
Yeah, we got some new people in the chat. Thanks, Justin Hancock. Hail.
Nice.
It's good to see. Good to see you here. We got our trusty, faithful member, Mark Clark, making fun of us for being. I was like 2 minutes late. I'm sorry. I wanted to be able to speak.
And he was also saying that we needed to congratulate David for being on time. That was the other.
David
topic.
was on time. David was on time this week.
Doing what
I'm
you're
very proud.
supposed to shouldn't get you. I mean, we are all millennials, like in that area, so we got all our participation trophies, but we weren't asking for them. We don't need to be giving them out.
Extraction 1 and 2 were good. Those are on Netflix. I haven't gotten to those yet because I have little girls, so I don't want to watch something super violent during the day. But I might watch those tonight.
There's too many things I missed out on Netflix, and I've added them. Like for example, one of them was I haven't finished the final season of Arrested Development, and so I put that on my thing. And then my wife was interested in it, so we started watching Arrested Development from season 1. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to finish it in time.
That's her first time.
She's watched a couple. She started watching with me initially, but she didn't like all the cousin stuff.
Yeah.
That is really
so funny,
weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird after watching it when you're older, because
But
when I was
the-
young, Arrested Development was well, not a big thing, but
Yeah.
was fairly known in Mexico, and that was really part of the funny thing with
Yeah.
with our friends, a group of friends, and it was like nowadays you check at it, and we actually have friends that dated their cousins, so it was normal in Mexico at least.
Um,
Yeah.
but the second half of this comment is also the reason why One Piece is great. I watched it with my 8-year-old. He didn't watch the whole thing, but he sat with me and watched it, and I showed it to my younger brother, and yeah.
So aside from that one, just I've only seen episode 1, but there was that nude from the behind shot. That one that was a little awkward, but
Yeah.
I was watching it with my daughter. But
Oh yeah, I mean
yeah.
that
I was
is
gonna say,
really
which
lovely.
one?
So.
But yeah, even if it's summer, that's no matter who it is, watching it with the daughter is going to be a little awkward. Yep.
That's why I just don't watch it with anybody. I just watch it all by myself. No, I'm
Char- Charles Bentley just became a channel member.
I was going to say, is that your second member?
That is our brother
yep.
who didn't need to become a channel member to become technically Mexican, because he already is. But he just came back from Brazil, and he's haven't seen him in 2 years, and he still hasn't come to Utah to visit both of us. So
Tisk.
but he watched Young Piece with our younger brother, and the younger brother didn't like it because he thought it was silly. Well, Sam is just too young to know what's
Probably
good
too
in
young
life.
to
And
appreciate
the first episode is really silly. The second one
Dude,
gets better, and the third one is way better.
I'm sorry though. The first episode is front loaded. The first episode has the sword fight over the campfire with
Mhm.
Zoro and the assassin, which is just some of the best choreography of all time. And you
was
get
really
awesome fight scenes, and then it ends with him putting the sword in his mouth, and you're like,
yeah, that was
it
weird.
immediately tells you, okay, don't
This is
take
what you're
this
going
show seriously,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be freaking fun.
I mean, the
Yeah.
ending, yeah, but the entire episode is like meh, and then it gets to that final. I mean, not meh, but you know what I mean. It could be boring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you, because that's the thing too. I started watching it and I was like, what kind of show is this? but like as soon as you realize that it's very much trying to be an anime,
Yeah, no, it is.
it's very
It's
much
live
trying to
action anime, and so
style.
that's you're like, this is anime logic, but you just have live action people doing it.
And it said so
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's why I loved it, is because I was like, oh, this is definitely an anime, but live action, and they're playing that up, and they're doing a good job. Like the costumes are kind of ridiculous, the swords are kind of, like later you have that big pirate guy.
oh yeah, the vampire guy,
He just got a huge sword, and you're like,
which is just the greatest character
Very
design
cool.
of all time. His
Yeah,
sword
that was-
is a cross.
Yeah,
Oh,
very, very
it was
cool.
cool.
Oh.
It was cool.
It was so cool.
So cool.
But yeah, there's stuff like that where I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous, but then I'm like, oh yeah, it's an anime.
It's
like,
an anime.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be
So,
over the top and kind of crazy. And it's
David, is
fun.
it you that just started it? You guys, have you gone through all of One Piece?
Yeah, I watched episode 1 last night.
Okay. Because I know
Anyway.
most of the rest of you won't care, but there's a character that pops up in there that I think will be is a good call for who they could recast Balin Skull as for Ahsoka. If they keep stuff going for Ray Stevenson's character. Okay,
Oh.
here's a funny thing that I did recently.
Right.
I finally watched RRR. Right? And
Nice.
towards the beginning of RRR, which also, by the way, is basically an anime.
Yeah, well, it's a folk tale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like a
Very, very
campfire
fun.
story, like larger than life,
Yeah.
folk
Right.
heroes.
Very
It's-
much in the
very
same
fun,
vein.
very
It's
cool.
over the top
Awesome,
on purpose,
awesome.
but it's full of heart.
Mhm, exactly. But so there's a character that pops up in that, and I'm like, wow, you know what? That guy would be great to recast as to fill in as Balin Skull now that Ray Stevenson's dead. Oh, it is Ray Stevenson. So I was just like, whoa, he's got the right look, and I'll bet you he's great. It is Ray Stevenson, and he was in RRR.
Yeah, he's
so
the bad guy in that
I'm
movie.
trying
Isn't
to
he?
recast him as him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh well.
RRR's
But
fantastic.
I went through that and I was like, well, that was smart of me.
Nice.
But
I forgot
RRR
I forgot to
also
recommend
very,
that
very
one. I forgot Charles, watch RRR. It is
Yeah.
the greatest. It's an Indian Bollywood movie, and it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
I think technically it's Tollywood because there's some differences in there, but then
Who
but
cares?
it's,
I did hear,
it's-
they're making Top
Yeah.
Gun 3, which
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, you know.
it's probably gonna end up being good. I just hope they, if they put as much care into it as the second one. I really liked
Honestly-
the new characters that they introduced in number 2, and I think even without Tom Cruise, they could hold a movie on their
Yeah,
own.
they can
Yeah,
pull
you
it out.
probably want to have Tom Cruise at least appear. in it
Exactly.
and-
You want to have
do
Tom Cruise in
something.
it, but it could
It
be like
moved to them.
you know,
Baby Goose story, yeah.
Yeah, Baby
Miles
Goose,
Teller is
Rooster.
just such a wonderful actor.
Yeah,
I love him.
I'm intrigued enough. Even if they put only half as much care into it as they did the last one, it'll still be a great movie and still be better than most of a lot of other things.
Ours on Netflix, but I think it might also be on Amazon. I don't know.
Well, there's another thing I gotta add to my list before the month is out.
Dude, there's
And that's a long one.
Mark,
3 hours.
there's 9 of us. Okay.
But yeah, RRR is hard to watch and recommend because it is a movie that you have to watch twice at least. Like literally, it gets better with each watching of RRR. It gets better because the foreshadowing and the way the story is made in its handle, it's way better than anything that we have seen in Hollywood like for years. And I'm talking like even Oscar related things, like the way the story is handled. It comes down to like things written in books. Like is that good? Even though it's a silly story, like it's a silly simple story.
Yeah.
But the way the story is divided, I think is really really interesting.
You know what?
So,
Mark,
by the way, there's
you know what they say
9
about
siblings. Yeah, but there's even obviously each of them is having kids too. So yeah. So and you add in
there's 9 siblings.
spouses.
You know what they say about rabbits, right? Rabbits breed like Mormons. So
I always loved the thing that people would say to me, like, "Oh, we didn't have TV back in the day, so there wasn't anything else to do."
Hangman was also fantastic. Yeah,
We have that saying in
Hangman is
Mexico
great.
too.
He has such a great like jerk face, like very punchable face, very smug, like handsome smug face. I watched that movie that he's in, Anyone But You.
Oh yeah,
And it was
that one's still in theaters,
was-
right? Or that one just hit theaters.
yeah. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but it was ridiculous, and I was laughing. I was dying laughing because it was not a good movie, but it was so fun to watch how just ridiculous. But like it knows
Nice.
what it is, and so it's not trying to be. It's not like, oh man, this is so bad, and they're trying to be good. No, it's like they know what they're doing, and I was dying laughing, but not necessarily just at the jokes, at the overt jokes. So
yeah,
it was an
over the
interesting
top
one.
movie.
And he is a fun guy to watch. Glenn Powell is his
Charismatic,
name.
yeah.
Did you guys catch up? Did you guys start watching Reacher?
Yeah.
I did not.
You're not referring to me though.
Is it it's just Jared and I watching Reacher? All right, we'll talk about that last.
Man, I don't have time to get into that. I got to binge all the Netflix I can before the month's out.
All right, and who
I'm
watched
doing Netflix right now.
who watched Echo?
I mean, I watched the first 6 minutes, the fight, but after that, I wanted to be blind, not deaf, but blind.
I
Yeah.
barely made it through episode 1.
I got 3 episodes, but it was hard for me to get to the 3rd.
Yeah, it's really boring. Most
Yeah.
importantly,
Mhm.
and it's
It wasn't great.
stupid.
There was a lot of things that I liked in it, and a lot of things that I wanted to like more. Kingpin, you can see Vincent D'Onofrio was able to actually act and be an intimidating Kingpin again, but they didn't quite write him well enough to be good. Like he's just got a weird connection to, like, they don't really give a good reason why he decides to just be all in for this for the Echo character, and why he's like, yep, I'm willing to let you do all these. Like, he's just decided to latch onto her, and there's no reason for it. Like, he treats her like he'd treat Vanessa. Like, he's a bad guy, and like, oh hey, there's Vanessa that I love and I care about, and I'll do anything for her. And oh, she finds out about my dark criminal stuff and actually is cool with it. And so now we can kind of move forward. But like, you don't get any kind of explanation as to why that is, and it was really frustrating because Vincent D'Onofrio was cool.
Yeah, it makes
yeah.
no sense why he's so infatuated with Echo.
I think he says it himself that he was struggling to make sense of. He had an interview and he said that he
I don't
made.
doubt it.
Yeah, he said that he struggled to make sense out of the written words.
Did you get to watch it, David? I don't remember. I didn't hear what you said on that. You didn't?
Nope, I don't have Disney Plus anymore, so don't know.
I don't have Disney Plus. I just said I watched it.
The only other thing that I was really curious about asking David about, because you know ASL pretty well, right?
Yeah, it's been years, but I took 3 years of it in high school and college.
It also ended up being a really like difficult try to like, because I like ASL and I've learned little bits here and there, but it just was really tough. It's
really bad.
They slowed down people's dialogue so that they could be signing through some of it, and the signing was very choppy, and then their dialogue was really choppy. The one thing I will say, the guy that plays her uncle, I don't know since you guys didn't get far into it, Henry, or her uncle Henry, the guy who owns the skating rink or whatever, he did a great job acting. There was a bit where he explains why he is working for Fisk and connected to Fisk and he acted the crap out of that, even though he had to have it very stilted because he was signing through it and very broken up. It wasn't. I would have to ask somebody who really knows ASL, because I feel like it wasn't good ASL because they were just literally translating word for word from English, which does not actually work.
That's not how it works.
No, it's really bad. It's hilarious because they tried to be so inclusive, and it's bad. There's two extremes, and they're both bad. There's the translation, which is just it's pretty much as good as the Primo's localization, right? So you've got actors who are pretending to sign, and it's not very good, and you have people who know sign language who are trying to act, and it's not very good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll even say that guy that plays Henry, I think he could do both, but having to try to juggle the both at the same time, not in a movie like I went and saw. There was a movie a couple of years ago. I think it went into the Oscars at some point, but it had to do with a girl from a deaf family that she went on to sing at something, and they did a great job of portraying and communicating all these things. I remember watching a show, it was on ABC called Switched at Birth, that also they had characters learning to sign and people doing signing, and they were able to do both signing and doing that really well.
Right.
They weren't able to do it here in this show, and I also love a lot of the Native American I like imagery and things like that. I actually was in a powwow troupe at my scout camp for a number of years, so I've done native dancing and stuff like that. So there was a lot of cool things that were there that I liked, but the actual show was not good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really bad, and you can tell just how pandering it was. They wanted to get points without doing any of the work, which is exactly what they did with Primos, which is exactly what they've been doing for the last 10 years.
I think it stems though from because again they had this character come from the actual comics, but it's when they made it in the comics that
she's not an actress. To pull it in. She's not an actress,
and I didn't.
This is her first. This is literally her first job. They just picked her up because she's an amputee. And
the second one is a commentary, literally, of how bad her life is, or something.
I think that, like I said, I don't even think she did a bad job.
Hold on. What job?
Did you have to learn hungry and horny?
Well, I can tell you this is hungry. Can't help you with the other one. We never got to that part.
Yeah.
Primo's
performance. Just
Primo's is it canceled, Mexa?
No, it got delayed like 3 times.
Go to the Angry Mexa's channel and watch our collaboration. First watch his video talking about Primos, and then go watch.
You got like 3 or 4 videos talking about Primos.
Our version of their theme song.
I wish I did more, to be honest.
It's the most racist thing you will ever see in your life.
I mean, there's American Society of
okay, sorry. It's the second most racist thing you'll ever see in your life. The American Society of Magical. Are you allowed to say that word now?
No, you can't. I got
Okay.
demonetized in that time, and I didn't even say the word. I say it in Spanish.
I was gonna say.
I mean,
it's only like 15 minutes in. Or
It's
something
not
like that,
better
so
in Spanish though. It's the same word. It's just
no,
pronounced.
but it's but
No, my
it is
favorite
not our
in
fault.
Mexico. In Mexico, they have these little they're like Twinkies, but they're covered in chocolate, and so they're called little blacks. But
Little
it's
blackies.
much better in Spanish.
it's far too close.
I don't
It's not
think
quite
I
the
can
same word, but
say
it's far
it.
too close for yeah. Well, and I was gonna say, I think YouTube only scans the first like 15, 20 minutes or something like that for those
Nah,
sorts of things.
they're dogs.
Yeah.
No, I've had every single for the last year. Every single live stream has been instantly demonetized.
Oh yeah.
Every single episode of Best Gen, and I appeal it, and every single time it's reverted. And they're like, okay, yeah, you can make money. It's just not on any of the views you got.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. What is it that they're saying that they're demonetizing you for at the beginning, like for
they
each
don't.
of these?
They never
They
have.
don't?
They don't say what it is. They never have to.
No reason, no excuse, huh?
Nope.
Lame.
What's funny? It's funny. You know my Christmas songs. So the first one did really well, and the second, I did two more that were instantly delisted.
Mhm.
One of them was manually flagged and demonetized, and it was the song. It was chestnuts roasting on an open fire, but it was paid for by the Trump Foundation. Manually selected to be demonetized, and I contested it, and they came back and said, nope, it's demonetized. And they didn't tell me the reason why. And the only I showed footage of the Summer of Love, in quotes. And the only footage I showed was from CNN directly with the lower chyron saying fiery but mostly peaceful protests. And 3 weeks later, I finally got the feedback for why it was demonetized, and it was for violence.
Oh wow, so fun.
So YouTube, were they peaceful protests?
Just
tell
for
me.
saying that, you just got demonetized. Just for saying that.
You demonetized my footage of CNN saying that they were peaceful.
Mostly peaceful. That's so
Something
hilarious.
doesn't add up here.
So pick a freaking lane.
They can't choose a lane, and that's why I say the word in Spanish, and I specify that it was words for black in Spanish, but not this black skin color, but the color black.
The color black,
Yeah. And I say
it's so silly. It's so silly that the words that we have to dance around. Like it's literally just the color for black is. It's not racist to say.
Yeah,
but you'll get demonetized if you say it on YouTube.
It's not my fault that the freaking gringos were like, and I can say gringos, which is supposed to be a slur openly, and
it is a slur.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I will say too that makes a difference. I was talking with I play volleyball with the Spanish group in our stake. I help kind of organize it and everything, and we were up there chatting with some of the people and talking to the English speaking missionaries that were showing up. So a bunch of white guys that don't even speak Spanish, and telling them about how like everyone in Hispanic cultures gets a nickname, period, and they're not politically correct at all. Every family has a gordo. Every family has a fatty. Like that's just your name in the family. It's fatty.
Well,
like,
it's a pet name for spouses or for lovers too, like the little
gordo.
Gordita,
Gordita.
I mean, you never call your wife gordita unless you want to get slapped across the face, obviously.
Right. Dude, I
call your husband gordo because.
Well, one of my favorite stories was from my mission. I was with another guy that only spoke English, and we were chatting with this lady at the front door, and her kid had wandered out. And when we were done talking to her, we were going to leave, and she calls out to the kid, "Gordo Ben," and the English speaking missionary was like, "Oh, is that his name, Gordo Ben?" And I'm like, "No." She just basically said, "Fatty, come." And it's like because that's what you do. You just I don't know.
I mean, it would be like shabby, right? It
Mexico
would be
doesn't have
like
that politically correctness going
it
on.
wouldn't be
you
like,
know?
hey, yo, fat ass, come here. It would be like,
Right,
hey, yo,
yeah.
shabby.
Yeah, like
Because
Taco Bell.
it's just the culturally like that's just the thing that you're saying, and it's not
Hey,
it's
you
not an
big
offensive thing. You're not trying to be
human,
mean
come
about it.
here.
It directly
Yeah.
translates to little fatty feminine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gordita like the Taco Bell. Ew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have-
never
they have
eaten
a-
Taco Bell, guys.
Oh, it's delicious. It's not Mexican food, but it's delicious.
It's delicious. I've seen some horrid things.
I eat at
about
Taco
it.
Bell.
I mean,
It's the only fast
it's
food. that-
delicious fast food.
It's the only fast food
It's-
that's still cheap right now.
Oh,
That's
for
very
real? Yo quiero Taco Bell.
That's true. You can buy their $5 box
Yeah,
or
box.
whatever. You get 5 items for $5
5.
or whatever. It's
Mhm.
it's the best deal in fast food right now.
Holy moly!
Everything,
guacamole,
yeah,
that's a
everything
lot of
else
items.
that used to be on the dollar menu is like $2.53 now. Wendy's,
Mhm.
McDonald's,
Yeah, they're-
Burger King.
How much does the
Nowhere
McDouble
has
cost
a dollar
now?
menu.
Does the McDouble cost $4 now?
I think it's like $2.50.
No, it's
something.
not. It's more. It's 3
I don't
something.
know. It's been a while.
In Mexico, all of those things are really expensive for some reason. But you know what is
Yeah,
really
they-
cheap to get? Avocados. I can get a kilogram, which is 2 pounds of avocados, for 25 pesos, which is $2.
Well, and they're like
Yeah.
huge.
Do
too,
you
aren't
know
they?
how much avocados cost here?
Yeah, I know that they literally cause the blood and
And it's all
sweat.
the hippies' fault. Avocados used to be dirt cheap, and then everyone wanted their avocado toast, and now it's like $9 for one avocado. Screw you, California.
and those hippies funded the
Way better price than that here.
traffickers that basically now if you want to have in Mexico a farm of avocados, you have to, for some reason, cultivate poppy. Like you have to cultivate it, literally you have to cultivate poppy in your avocado farm. So every time now that you buy an avocado in the United States, it came from a poppy farm. They literally and our president went to the farm, to the poppy farmers, literally went and talked to the poppy farmers and said, "You're doing a great job." Our president, yeah. Imagine Biden.
Dude,
well, kinda.
I don't know where you're shopping, but like that, I haven't seen a 2-for-1 avocado deal in years.
Yeah, they're
That's
running
like
No,
if you're
he
really
means like
lucky.
dollar
you're
menu.
like a bag for $3 or something like that. Maybe it's 4, but yeah.
They're
Like a
expensive
menu?
now. Anyway,
The cheapest fast food in Mexico for anything American is Burger King. I always say Burger King because Mexican. Burger King.
the,
And they're cheap, but it's really bad.
okay, you're in Texas. That doesn't count.
Oh, you're in
Of course,
Texas.
it's cheaper in Texas.
Oh, so you buying the
I was
narco?
gonna say,
So you buying
in California, it's not as bad of a price as you're talking about either. And it's coming from California. That's probably why too, because they're not.
No, the avocados from California are from California, but the avocados you buy in Texas, those avocados are the one from Durango. Those avocados,
believe that,
are
yeah.
the ones
That's
from
true.
the.
Anyway, the point of this whole conversation is that Echo is racist.
Yeah, Echo's racist. Please help me, guys, because I want to make the video. The Echo is racist. I probably already did it too late.
What's I still don't understand the opening scene where you got those like green people who live underground and then they drink glowing water and then the ceiling falls down and then they get teleported onto the land and then the narration
Ayahuasca.
says,
They're drinking
then
ayahuasca.
and then the
I
narration
was gonna
says
say
the first Indian, her name was
First Choctaw. Yep.
do you want to know Mexa, do you want to know what the Indian's name is?
What is?
Chafa, which in Spanish translates to crappy.
No, it translates to
Basically, that's just
basically
the
Chinese
just the
knockoff.
Choctaw creation myth. so.
Chafa basically translates to Chinese knock. I mean, not Chinese knockoff,
It's
but
like cheap.
knockoff, like
Cheaply
cheap
made.
knockoff. Yeah, cheaply
It's
made.
chafa.
Chafa.
Yeah, they just didn't
This
do enough
show
to connect
is
back,
chafa.
like to really make that make sense.
I just
but
don't
it was just
understand what it is. Like that's not That's
I
not
think-
Native American lore, though. Like, I don't know
Well,
what
That's what I
it is.
was guessing it was.
I think it
was
is.
so
I think it
close.
is. It depends on what tribe you're going to, but I think that's the Choctaw creation myth.
They don't like.
Yeah.
They just. Like, I'm going to be really, really honest here. Like all of these people, all of these gringos saying like, "Oh, I understand the culture that was here 400 years ago before the British completely banished them to the Netherlands, to the other underworld." Yeah. Let's just say that they don't understand the culture. Neither do Spanish, which Spanish did a better job conserving the culture from Mexicans, which sadly we only get like 2 or 3 or 4 like cultures, even though there were like 20 or 30 different cultures back then. But yeah, whenever I see all of those things, I always think the same thing, and is that these people will consider, first of all, they will consider them white devils because that's the terminology that the Native Americans used to use. They will do things that I cannot say in YouTube to them because they will call them traitors to their land. And yeah, they will remove the hair out of their uh, head, literally
Scalp.
by force. Yeah, I cannot say. I cannot. I don't know if I can say that word.
I think you can say it.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
but
did,
they
I just
will
did,
do
so I
that.
hope you can. Yeah. Sorry, I thought
Especially
you
if
were
she was
searching
deaf.
for the word.
Especially if she was deaf. Like, and it's funny because she's deaf, but it's not Native American, but she's using the American sign language, which is the sign language that the people that colonize her. I remember that thing that the Primos girls said that Latin American is not Mexican, is not whatever.
It's not a
No,
real language.
yeah, Spanish is not a Mexican American, Latin American language because it's the language of the conquistadors, which is a sentiment that many natives share, real natives at least.
and
The
she
other
says
thing,
it in English too, but
Lemao. Yeah, she says it in English, which is funny because the British only conquered like twice of the things that the Spanish conquered. And yeah, they did horrible things to the natives. So if I was native and I was deaf, I will not be speaking ASL. Maybe I will speak in the Spanish, the Mexican one. Or I will be just communicating with howls or something. I will hollering like a Native American. Oh, no, that's not cool. But yeah, I just say that any of those fake attempts of representation of Disney and all these companies, they will just get destroyed. And you can hear, literally, you can hear the silence, the Mao, pun unintended, of the Native American community about this show because they haven't come to the support, and it's pretty obvious why.
Del Taco is pretty good. I like that too. But
they were one that had some good deals for a long time too. Taco Tuesdays get like 3 for $1 or something like that. Probably
Anyway.
$1 a taco now.
anyway, Echo.
Well, so here's my take on it. So I had a problem with this show because it just felt slow, right? Like the problem is
slow.
the first episode
slow.
they were doing a lot of recap. So like the 1st
Mhm.
little bit, you're like getting this intro into Echo, but then it's also recapping a lot of stuff that you've already seen in
Captain
Hawkeye,
America.
right? Like that.
Hawkeye, but you also
Yeah, Hawkeye.
you like have to do that because they realize
Dude.
that they can't depend on people to have seen everything anymore.
Dude, you
so.
realize? So
Yeah.
it ends. We can't rely on
Yeah, and-
Marvel fans to have watched our garbage
and so
programming.
that first one was definitely slow because of that. But then I also realized too that like the problem is that literally like half the time there's no dialogue or and so you're watching the screen, right? So I mean, so here's the thing. I'm
just
okay
tough
with
to engage
reading
with it.
subtitles,
Look,
right?
we just watched Godzilla -1. We
Yeah, that's
know how to
totally
read,
fine.
okay?
Yeah, but the problem is when like you're watching someone sign and so there's no verbal anything, there's just music in the background and you're watching subtitles and then every once in a while you get, one side of the conversation. So it was really hard to like balance this and it just felt really, really slow. And the thing is like you can do this
It's
can do this
it's
successfully.
been done well.
Yeah.
I gave two examples: Switched at Birth and
Exactly.
Coda. That's the name of the movie.
Coda,
That both
yeah. I knew the movie you were talking about. I couldn't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just looked it up.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like so, the way that especially Coda did it, like it was so good because there was other dialogue, there was other storytelling, whatever it was. But like
they did it in only Murders in the Building as well. They had a deaf episode that everyone loved.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they did a Quiet Place also is like kind of deaf?
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah, they did it better in the Quiet Place. It's like it's so natural.
Greetings
We'll also give
to
Switched
San
at Birth,
Francisco. The time
again,
scales.
it's a very like ABC like drama.
I blame you for how expensive avocados are.
But with Switched to Birth too, like you had characters that didn't know sign language at all, and you had characters having full conversations in sign language with no dialogue. And again, it was so much more interesting.
Yeah,
but because they did the talk and speak at the same time. Here's the thing. There are scenes. There are scenes
talking and signing at the same time. But it was they would throw in a sign or two about as they were learning these signs that they didn't because they didn't know. As
the one scene that worked well.
Single word as it went.
The one scene that worked well in Echo, episode 1, was at the very beginning with the family around the campfire. The girls were playing in the tent, signing, and the family, you could tell. Okay, this is a family that's been forced to learn sign language because of because of a family member. So they were having a conversation, and then occasionally they would do the sign for the word that they were saying because you could see the dad was practicing sign. That was a really good scene. And then you have scenes in the same show where it's just Echo and one other person. No one else is there, and they're doing the talk while signing. Why is the guy talking at all? Just sign, and it will be faster. But because they wanted to do both, it's so
just talk
slow.
Yeah,
it's
one of the
horrible.
That these other things have done is recognize that a lot of people that sign or that are deaf or hard of hearing also have really good lip reading skills.
Yeah,
and they didn't give
if
the
you
credit
wanted
to her to be able to
if
do
you
that,
wanted her to be like super girl boss powerful, just how she's just like the best at lip reading. And you don't even have to have people sign.
That was one of the things that was a little
not that hard.
You've got Daredevil, who's a disabled character who can't see, right? But you deal with the idea that his powers are such that he's able to still live in a world and be able to do all these things because he's the best at like listening and hearing and being able to pick up on all these context clues. But you don't play with that with her, which I wish that they kind of had. Like there's a scene actually where Kingpin has a translator. So minor spoilers if you care at all, but has a translator that he has there helping her with it a couple of times. And there's one scene where he then dismisses the translator at their dinner or whatever, and you see the translator walk down a hallway that they've already literally got set up to just murder her because Kingpin doesn't want to have all this stuff out there. And you
did they try and do a hallway fight scene?
Oh, they did a couple of things that were kind of like that, but that's not what this is. What this one was you then come back to Kingpin and Echo having dinner and they're eating and whatever, and you hear the translator in the hallway talking to his bodyguards that are going to kill her. Oh no, I won't say anything. I promise I won't say anything. And then the gunshot, and she is clueless. Echo is clueless because she can't hear. But if you wanted to do a similar parallel to like a Daredevil, she would have like picked up on the feeling the vibrations, or should have picked up on the muzzle flash that might have been like reflected in the back and go, oh, that's something they could have done something like that to show how capable she was, but they didn't do that, which is kind of like a interesting like. I don't know, and also it really became hard to like root for her as a character. Here's one thing that I thought of too, because they leaned in on the idea of hatred. So you have the scene that you see in the trailers of Kingpin beating the crap out of a guy who treated her a little bit poorly because he couldn't understand her because she didn't speak at all, right? And so Kingpin goes and beats the crap out of this guy, and he's talking. He calls somebody on the phone saying, "Hey, I need a change of clothes. I don't want Maya to see me having done this." And he turns, and there she is. She's watching him, right? And then she walks up and kicks the dude. And you're like, it's hard to really like root for you.
No,
when
she's not a good person.
You don't have a heart of gold, sort of thing. They kind of come around on it, sort of, and that's kind of the point, is that she's having to realize to not just be a. But it was really tough to root for her after that, you know.
Yeah. I love that scene that you mentioned, by the way.
My problem with the character in Hawkeye was that they tried to give her this redemption arc, except that she was the leader. I was like, it would have worked if she was a goon, right? If she was a stooge and she was and she realizes that she doesn't want to live this life,
Mhm.
but she was the whole time, because they had to girl boss her, she was the leader the whole time making the bad decisions.
Yeah.
And then at the
Yeah.
very end, they're like, oh, but she's going to be a good person now. And it didn't
And-
work in Hawkeye.
It's
And,
kind of the
and
thing.
they
quite-
don't
they
fix
don't
it
quite-
in Echo.
they don't
She's
really
just
fix it. They
she's
kind of
worse,
fix it,
and she's not trying to be a good person. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched reviews. I've watched people I trust talk about the
Yeah.
other episodes, and she puts her family in danger, and she never tries to be a good person. And at the very end,
And when they call her
instead
out
of
on it, she's
having
like,
her-
so I don't care.
instead
Why
of
should I care?
having her, come to terms and say, okay, I want to change, I want to be a better person, she blames everyone else for her problems.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which there's even
She
room to
blames
have
her
that
grandma
discussion,
and
like,
Kingpin
yeah.
for her problems.
And,
Oh my
and her
gosh.
cousin, and like her cousin that reached out to her and was trying to talk to her, and she was like, oh, you went away, and she's like, so, like, she's mad at her grandma for having like left her alone when she went to New York with her dad. But like her cousin literally did reach out and is like, why did you never answer me? And she's like, it's not my problem. Like that's
her
not
grandma-
that's not a good
Is
thing.
that-
And then her grandma apologizes and she's like, no, I'm too angry at you, and walks out. Like it doesn't. It was like she didn't hear the apology, but it wasn't like she wasn't listening. It was like, I don't. It was weird.
Because she's
Her,
deaf.
her grandma's like the worst actress ever too.
Well,
Like,
here's the thing.
The scene at the hospital.
In this particular show, she's doing a horrible job. I've seen her in other stuff,
Uh-huh.
and she's actually okay.
Okay, then it's the writing.
And the directing.
Yeah.
The scene in the
The
hospital with like, I will never forgive you for this
Yeah. Yep.
ever,
that was-
ever. And like the way they're talking to each other, it's the bad improv dialogue where like, as we both know, this is a thing, and they're doing exposition through dialogue in just the worst possible way.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be a dramatic scene where someone has just died, and they're like, it's so painful.
And
to
there's
watch.
a lot of stuff where they like do a lot of that like exposition by dialogue, but they first of all, they're doing it in a way like they're doing a thing that shouldn't be done because it's always terrible when you do it. But then they're not even doing it well because some of those relationships are still not super
They're
clear.
so
Like,
bad.
The dude that's married to the grandma is he actually related, or was he just married to the grandma? And then when they come back together, they're not together, but it doesn't seem like a thing. And they kind of address the fact
it was
that they separated,
specifically
but-
the dialogue.
That was weird.
I remember the line that just made me just like cringe out of my mind.
Uh-huh.
It was the grandma talking to the dad and be like, I know I told my daughter not to marry
To avoid
you
these such
you
and such
dirty
boys, yeah.
gangsters. It was like, I can't remember the specific line, but it was when she was talking about like, I told my daughter not to marry you guys and this would happen. It was just some of the worst dialogue
Yeah.
I've ever heard. in
Well,
the
and
worst
then the
delivery.
other thing that I don't know if you picked up on, and even having watched the full show, it wasn't clear if who in that family was deaf, because obviously Echo is, but also the mom was too,
What?
and that wasn't Echo's mom is also deaf, and
I had no idea.
That's never very clearly like described the idea that it's not just Echo, it's not just Maya that's deaf, it's also her mom. You get almost to that point when in one of the last episodes, Kingpin actually.
Then why
What's
is
that?
she talking? No, because in the scene where her mom dies, she tries talking to her mom. She says,
Yeah,
"What's wrong, Mom?" She's
Well, she
stepping
signs
on
it,
the
but
she's
she signs-
stepping on the
she
brake,
signs it.
and it doesn't. No,
But she
I thought
signs it to her mom. She
she
signs
signs
it
it?
to her mom. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
she
sure
signs.
because
She
we
signs.
never
Okay.
hear Maya say any dialogue. Period.
Well,
Like, she never says.
well,
anything.
that's the other thing too. I'll just add real quick is that like
Mhm.
the problem is when you are deaf, you make sounds still.
You can,
know?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she is so silent that I'm just like, is she really deaf? Because
Yeah.
like she's not like
And-
you
And
know.
the
Like,
actresses, and
and
the
it's
other thing that I'll tell you too that makes it difficult is because I can understand when I look at having watched Coda and having watched the Switch to Birth and a couple of those other ones, when somebody who is deaf speaks, it is really hard to grasp because they don't have the feedback. They're not able to like get it unless you have specific coaching. There's definitely a very distinct like pattern to the speech.
a
and
deaf
it's
voice,
tough.
Yeah,
And-
it's like
and-
because they don't know how to pronounce the vowels correctly because they've never heard it. They're just mimicking vibrate. They're just like you can't hear. I like G. Like
And you can
you
imagine
can get across, but deaf people can talk. It just sounds
yeah.
very
And
silly.
you need
to
some,
us.
you
And
need
take a lot of
some specific
practice.
coaching to make it better, but
Right.
like I almost wonder if the actress was too self-conscious to do that, which I can understand,
Maybe.
but also I'm like, it really did end up affecting the end product that she never
Yeah.
spoke, because if
Yeah.
she does speak with that deaf voice, I can get why you didn't want to do it,
Okay.
but man, it really made it difficult for the show to be.
There is a lot of stigmatism though within the deaf community, because there's a big
true.
vocal majority that thinks that is it's putting upon them to
it's
force
beneath them
to learn how to speak verbally.
I can understand that. Yep.
So that might be what they're going for.
But and I can totally respect that. But to still say it really makes it difficult for
No, I 100%. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I'd like to bring up Justin's comment too. That I was about to bring up the same thing. I think this is a problem with Disney. They don't know how to
give an appropriate.
One we've talked about.
You already know what I'm going to say, so I'm going to let you finish.
Yeah, exactly. But they keep towing the line between hero and villain, and they keep making the same mistakes. Wanda was a terrible person, but they try to make her off as a hero.
You'll never know what she sacrificed.
Exactly. And it's kind of like the opposite problem with Boba Fett. Boba Fett is supposed to be a villain, and they try to make him this sympathetic guy that just wants to lead with kindness. Like, what the crap is that?
Okay.
It's the same problem. They don't know that they can't commit to having like a character be a villain or be a hero. They just have to like toe the line back and forth.
Because Disney doesn't believe in good and evil.
Right.
They don't believe in good and evil, so they cannot write it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that
you are right about that.
Yeah. It was tough. And that's the thing. Like I said, there were a lot of things I wanted to like about it, and that I did enjoy being able to see in it. Again, that actor that plays her uncle Henry, he did some great stuff. The Native American, like the powwow that was going on, and I love that. I served in Oklahoma, like I love a lot of that, but it just the rest of the show just didn't quite come around. And again, Vincent D'Onofrio was a very intimidating presence, but his motivations and things just didn't.
Okay, yeah. I have plot specific gripes now to get into, like plot holes that are just ridiculously stupid, because I think we've done.
How do you?
He gets point blank shot in the face. It's just a flesh wound. Okay, that's stupid.
And he still even has.
You realize like the first part of the episode.
Like he's still working.
The first part of the episode is recap, and then after she runs away. Yeah. They try to contextualize morality to blame decisions on circumstance. Yes.
Yep.
They're impossible.
They don't do a good job of it, because I think there's room to do some of that, but they don't do it right.
Very good comment.
Poorly.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't think, they believe in evil things and they despise good things. So why would you expect them to be able to write about it? Okay. So it goes to recap. She shoots Kingpin in the head and he doesn't die, and then she rides away on her motorcycle. Did you guys notice after the recap it says 5 months later?
Yeah.
And she shows up to the gas station with a gaping wound.
Oh, was that okay?
Well, yeah,
she didn't try to. She's had that wound for 5
months, and it hasn't done anything.
Well, I just assumed it was from something else she was.
No, it's the wound that she got in Hawkeye.
That's weird.
Was it 5 months later before you saw that gaping wound that she sews up?
Yeah.
Because then
it does recap. It does recap. 5 months later, riding on a motorcycle, shows up at a gas station.
Yeah.
Because what makes almost a little bit of sense is
they show blood on her motorcycle, which from Hawkeye, which has been there. She hasn't bothered to wipe it off for 5 months on the lamb.
What I bet they were supposed to be trying to do was because then she shows up, she sews it up at her like old family home or whatever, and then like a little bit later she shows up to the skating rink and talks to her uncle, who gets her to a mortician that can like help her, and then immediately it's magically fixed and is never talked about again. But at that point she shows it and it looks all pussy and whatever. Like maybe a month later, sort of thing. So maybe it was supposed to be that bit was supposed to be before the 5 months.
Yeah,
even
I
though
think
they
it
really
was.
showed
I think
wrong,
it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
And they accidentally screwed it up.
interesting.
But what's also funny about that same scene is she starts falling asleep on the road.
Yeah.
And she comes up behind a semi truck and gets woken up by honking.
The car behind her honking?
No,
maybe.
Who's honking?
Or who's honking? Yeah, that's a great question.
Because she's behind the truck, hears honking, and then veers into the other road where an oncoming car is coming, which honks at her.
But what woke her up? Yeah.
She was behind the truck. No one saw her.
They
Who was honking?
Because the way that the story of the movie goes, or the show goes, like it's supposed to be connection to her ancestors. She should have at least been woken up by her ancestors. But no, that's an interesting. I did think about that actually in the moment, but I forgot about it.
I can't tell you how many times I had to pause the episode and like go back 10 seconds because like, what just happened? Because then we get that. Before that, we get the fight scene with Daredevil, which is, I'm told it's the only time he shows up.
Yeah.
Right? Never comes back.
He only shows up for that. Yep.
They were trying so hard to make this cool fight scene, which this was a reshoot, by the way. Daredevil wasn't in the show. He wasn't in the show.
Mark Clark, good point.
I'm already losing my voice. Like, stop making me shout. Stop making me laugh. I'm dying. I'm literally dying.
Wow.
I'm only gonna last like 30 more minutes, so we gotta get through this. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Jared did mention before that I forgot to say about the gunshot scene, how she didn't hear anything. She still would have felt
vibrations
of that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe not everyone would be that observant, but if you're wanting to make her a superhero, like you're doing to Daredevil, when he has all these amazing abilities that come from his other senses,
right? Well,
you could do that.
That's something like I had a sign language teacher who was actually deaf. And I was surprised to find out that he had a favorite song. He loved Purple Rain by Prince. That was his favorite song. I'm like,
nice.
What? How? Because he couldn't hear a thing. Like, it wasn't like diminished hearing. He couldn't hear anything.
It's vibrations.
I like vibration. He just loved the way that Purple Rain felt. He could feel those vibrations. So it's not like they can't hear anything, but they can still hear the vibrations from the sound reverberating, you know? Yeah. So something like a gunshot, now a car horn, probably not, but something like a gunshot, absolutely.
Absolutely, most definitely. They would.
That, especially if it's just in the next room.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of offensive to real people with hard of hearing or actually deaf. Someone would actually, like you said, they are not completely unaware of the world around them. Like that is,
and especially in a world where she's supposed to be kind of like a counterpart to Daredevil, you would think, like you said, Jared, that they would play on that, say, "Oh, she's got like super,
she's super observant."
Or something, super awareness of something else.
Which they almost play with that once or twice where I'm like, okay, so here they're saying that she's noticing things, but they don't do that anywhere close to, like, I don't know. It probably would have been too ham-fisted to actually make it work, but you know how in Psych, whenever he comes in and he sees things and you see him highlighted or whatever, you could do that with her being like, hey, she's that observant. That's what she's noticing, these things that we probably wouldn't notice because we're not sure. We're able to also use our ears or whatever.
But if you're going to do that, you're going to have to
work.
If you're going to do something like that, you need to be consistent about it, and you need to show how she knows that without being able to hear, right?
Yeah.
So, well, that basically is her power in the comic books. Like she's called Echo because she's kind of like Taskmaster, that she can mimic the abilities of other people just because she's so observant, because it's heightened because of her. But in this show,
that makes sense. Yeah,
her powers are her ancestry.
Her ancestry echoing through her, which honestly, I actually don't even hate that. Like, fine, that's cool. I like.
Don't call her Echo. Create a new character. It's
that's
silly.
Also fair. Yeah.
call her Bear. Like I don't know how you guys do the Native American names. So we said Toro Sentado or something like that.
Sitting
Bull.
Anyway, so when you get to the fight scene, and you can it's basically just Ahsoka all over again, where one of the people is really good and the other is just constantly off with her timing. So Charlie Cox is amazing, and that fight scene is so bad.
There was one in particular that I caught. The kick. Yep, it was the kick
where she goes up,
wait, kick,
and then kicks him in the face. Like waits for him to get into position. Kicks him in the face because she was early. And there's another time where she dives to the floor, and I was like, why does she just jump on the floor? I had to go back 6 times, and it's because she's early. She jumps on the floor because 2 seconds later he swipes with his chain nunchuck thing, right? But it's unintelligible because she's so off that she's like, why is she just jumping on the floor? So she jumps down before he swipes. It's horrible.
Yeah,
that makes more sense actually, because I thought that I was just terrible choreography. It actually makes more sense.
So and they put everything into this. They put everything into this fight scene so they could have it in the trailer to lure people into watching the show. And then the rest of the show, there's not even a fight that comes close to this. And this one was bad. Anyway, there's that.
Plus, there was the in continuity where like she gets that makeshift leg, and she's like, I could barely run on this thing, and then she's running on it later, and you're like, no. First off, like it's put. I mean, you just made a comment about how bad it was.
Was that in episode 1? I think
it was in 2 or 3.
I haven't seen that part.
But yeah, there's just stuff like that, and plus, I mean, that whole part was silly too, because literally, I was watching the leg, and it was like much further down on her leg than her amputee, and so it was like. Yeah. Like she literally, it shows her amputee, and it's right below.
Oh, okay. Yes, but
and then later on, literally, she's got like half a calf left, and I'm like, that was not consistent.
Mark Clark, thank you so much for the $4.99. Much like when Dason betrayed Gavin, Echo betrays Kingpin to be the Queenpin. Oh, Kingpin had his run. Now it's time for a queen. No, okay, that scene, Jared, the car crash. I laughed so hard because the mom is casually just, that's funny. This brake isn't working, right? And like doesn't even try to like slow the car down or like turn off into the field. She just knows that there's an intersection coming up and gets, but. Where she gets glass stuck like in her calf. Mm-hmm. Where did the glass come from, Jared? There's a giant shard of glass this big stuck in her leg. Where did that glass come from, Jared?
Jesus.
The windshield?
Yeah. Because
that's probably where it's supposed to have come from. But
Jared, did that glass come from the windshield?
No, I mean it would have had. Well, here's the thing,
Jared. It's impossible for that glass to have come from the windshield.
That's not gonna
because
happen.
Glass in cars is tempered glass.
Yeah.
And it's also got stuff in the middle of it too. So yeah.
Which shatters into teeny little pebbles.
Yep.
Where on earth did that glass come from?
Not because it actually matters at all, because it's just ridiculous. But my next best guess is the other car's headlight, the lights, the glass over the headlight thing.
It's plastic.
Plasticky glass.
Yeah, but
that'll shard out.
The metal of the truck. They're driving a truck, like that's gonna hit the metal.
Yeah. Sure, it could have been the car got crushed onto her leg.
That would have made a lot more sense, honestly.
Yeah.
But
this show's stupid. There was a
I like Guy Gadbois last comment there. Who doesn't drive around with large boxes of glass in their car though?
Yeah, no, they show her get shot in the calf and then she's amputated above the knee, which is not what you do. You want to keep the joint,
as much of as you can.
right?
Yeah.
Because
no, it was
then you
just
can
below
use.
the knee. It was just below the knee.
No.
Yeah, I think it was just below
Yeah,
the knee on
it
the
was.
thing.
It was just
Really?
below the knee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, like in later, I mean, and
Even
that's
in
the
Jacob
thing. So
Ironside.
I have a friend that actually is an amputee, and like they have to have a socket, right? So they have that little part that goes into the socket.
Dude, what's the surgery called where they take the foot and turn it backwards and attach it?
Oh yeah, I've seen
Dude,
that.
that is the craziest and coolest surgery of all time. It's
Yeah.
so smart.
To make it.
Oh my gosh.
Foot.
Yeah. To give the person a joint to work with, they take their foot and put it on backwards where the
Yeah.
knee is. It's
Wow.
it's so cool. It's
Yeah.
science is awesome.
Yeah, medical science is amazing what they can do now.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
That's
So
insane.
that was definitely one of those things too, where the level of injury that was didn't seem like it was enough to have caused an amputation, unless she sat there for hours or something. But
It's called rotation plasty.
Hmm.
It's the coolest thing on earth. Go
Yeah.
look up YouTube videos. It's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch a person get his.
No, they
foot-
have like animated
Oh.
things, right?
Oh, okay, I
Showing you
was
the
like,
side.
oh, this guy wants me to
interesting.
watch a video get
It's
his.
basically when you just need to remove the
It is
calf. Or not the calf,
absolutely
the thigh.
fascinating.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's pretty crazy.
They put
Anyway,
their foot. They put their backwards foot into the prosthesis.
Yeah.
So then that's
so
wild. That's cool.
it's if the knee gets damaged, if you have to remove the knee section, they cut higher into the thigh and then attach the thigh to the calf, but turned around so that your heel is in the same location as the knee on your other leg.
The knee would have been. Yeah.
That's
And then
insane.
It's
Who was the first person that thought of that? That, like,
A
you don't have to cut off your
that's
knee,
like
let's
the
do it.
most like Frankenstein, like
Right?
just imagine like pitching that, like, hey guys,
It was. I
I've
mean,
been
I'm just reading
thinking.
the internet here. It was first performed by Bogreve in 1927.
Wow.
Performed this procedure on a 12-year-old boy.
Wow.
I got this crazy
Procedure
idea.
well known
Okay,
until the
guys,
50s.
let's put his leg on
Wow.
backwards.
Yeah.
What? No.
In the
Let's
20s,
put it
I
on.
don't know what he was on.
Let's do it backwards.
Around, but
Wow. That's insane. That's almost 100 years old.
hmm
That's
that is
crazy.
Crazy.
It's the coolest procedure of all time. Anyway, Echo sucks. I don't have anything else to say. There were a bunch of other stupid things, but it's just a nitpicky at this point. And are we done with it? No one's gonna make me watch the rest,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, we were talking about surgery to avoid talking about Echo. So yeah,
It's just so painful.
They drop all the episodes, or is it?
Yeah,
They did.
there's,
They dropped
there's,
it
dropped
all.
them all at once.
there's 5
It
episodes.
makes a lot of sense
Five
because, like,
episodes
honestly,
long, David.
There's only 5?
They originally might have planned an 8 episode, and then they were like, "No, it's going to be 6." And then they were like, "Honestly, what we have is not great, so let's cut it down to just 5."
Yeah.
And even
No,
that
no.
was kind of stretching it.
So
Yeah.
they cut it down from 8 to 6. They had 6 episodes, and they straight up just deleted the last episode. They're like,
They
this is
deleted
not-
the
I
finale?
think they chunked it out. No,
They-
it has
yeah.
a finale, but like it, they just chopped it down so that it just went to 5.
Weird.
Also, this isn't in the MCU. This is the Marvel Spotlight, whatever that means.
That's not really what it is. It's in the MCU, but it means that it's not connected enough to anything for you to have to care about. Basically, that's literally they're
That's
putting
great.
But it
out
used
there, like,
to
you know what,
be.
this is
Here's
something
a
you don't
Marvel
have to
thing
watch
that-
if you're just trying to watch the. if
This
you're
one
just trying to,
isn't
like, keep up
required
with
reading,
the build-up,
is
this
what they're
not
saying.
required reading. Yep.
That's hilarious marketing. Like,
but it was
It's
supposed
one of
to
the
be
things where they've gotten
canon.
themselves just into the bad position where that's kind of what they have to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was supposed to be canon, but they say this is so bad that it's better. You're gonna hurt the overall.
I'm done.
canon.
I'm done.
And
We've
even
talked about
overall, you've
Echo
got
for
things
too
where it's
long.
like if you've got like a WandaVision or a Miss Marvel and those sorts of things that like lead into the Marvels, those wouldn't be spotlight because they need to be seen in order to get the Marvels theoretically. But like some of the other ones, you don't, and so they're like, yeah, let's just make it so people don't have to worry about it. All right,
I need to show you guys this article, which I think is hilarious. Which is loading weird because Screen Rant updated their thing and my ad blocker isn't dealing with it correctly, right? But Jonathan, this is the funniest thing. The article is Jonathan Majors breaks silence on losing his MCU King role, right? Because he got fired because he got convicted of bad stuff. David, you would expect this article to cover what Jonathan Majors said about losing his King role, correct?
You would think that's what the headline states, right?
Right.
Except that it's from Screen Rant, you would think that, yeah.
Right. It doesn't. Because he never spoke up.
What?
Oh wow.
Wait, so it's not only they don't actually address it, they actually just are straight up lying here?
Yeah, yes. So what he did, all it is talking about the statement that he made after his conviction, which was, she's a liar.
Nothing but the role.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the MCU. These are the statements, right, in quotes. I'm standing there as the verdict came down. How is it possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, how could they possibly convict me? That it didn't happen.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't do it. I'm an athlete. I'm a sportsman. I know my body. I have control over it. I know how it moves. I know my strength or lack thereof. You know? So none of that was employed on the victim. That's it.
Nothing about being an actor.
I take no accountability. It's not surprising that he didn't take any accountability from his actions. This is like the attorney general.
Attorney for the lady, yeah.
It demonstrates his clear lack of remorse for the actions. That's the article.
Yep.
There's not a single word. I don't even think MCU appears in the article.
Hey, but based on this timeline,
it does because he got fired.
Alan, a timeline at the bottom that says he breaks his silence in 2024. Oh no! It does his first post-conviction interview with ABC News,
where he doesn't talk.
Huh.
Anyway,
it's a nice timeline, though, guys.
I forgot to play the stinger, but this has been
Screen Rants. Bad takes.
Oh my gosh!
Another dumb thing that it comes down to is they're playing like lots of semantic rules. He breaks his silence. This one on losing MCU King role is absolutely false. But the URL talks about break silence following MCU King role or whatever. Like he is no longer silent. Has he said anything about his MCU role? No. But he spoke.
Not a single word.
It's not about that.
David, you sent me a bunch of stuff.
Sent you a couple things, yeah.
Marvel executive producers.
This is great.
Shares the reason behind MCU's recent struggles. I mean, we all know the reason. It's because it sucks.
Yeah. If you read the article there, he talks about.
Why are there?
Picture, by the way.
2 separate pictures of the same picture.
But yeah, basically, he says the reason why that the MCU hasn't been great lately is because they've been focusing too much on TV shows when they're used to making movies. So they're making their TV shows like they would make movies, and they don't fit in because they've been focused so much on making movies that they don't know how to make TV shows. The problem with that argument is their movies also suck lately, right? So, like, what kind of excuse is that? Like, sorry, our TV shows suck because we're a movie company, not a TV company.
If it was all the same quality as the majority of the MCU, right? Which had a couple stinkers, right? Like Thor 2. Thor 2 is fun. Like, lore wise, it's fascinating. It just doesn't work as a movie, right?
Right.
But there's some really good stuff in Thor 2.
Forgettable.
I don't hate that movie. It's just compared to the rest of the MCU, like it's poo poo.
Yeah.
Imagine if all of these TV shows and movies that came out in these last couple of years were on the same par as the rest of the MCU. No one would have been complaining about it.
Yeah.
It would have been amazing. If they were even close to the same level of quality. The problem is,
for me personally, I would argue that a lot of them have been at least close, but not all of them. And yeah, that's also me. I'm one of the few that will say that. So
I did think that WandaVision started off fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the last like 2 or 3 episodes that are just completely, it just destroys the whole thing.
Yes, half of it, basically half of it is.
All the first 3 or 4 shows that they did started out pretty good. WandaVision, Loki,
I disagree.
Moon Knight. I thought all those started out really good, and then it just did not deliver in the end, and just was discombobulated mess in the last couple episodes.
I hate the argument. Oh, it's just we've been doing too much stuff, and that's why people have tuned out.
Yeah.
Not if it had been good.
Well, but I think that the thing is it's hard.
Oh no, more of my favorite thing. Oh no.
Well, when you don't have the same people doing it, because one person that does it really well can only do so much, and then when you get the second or third or fourth person in there, they weren't good enough to be doing it in the first place. So now that they're the ones that are in charge of doing it, they're not going to do as good a job as that one person that was doing it before.
Right.
So that actually tracks well enough for me that I'm like, yeah, you're trying to do too much, getting the same people to do too much so that they can't put as much effort into it and make it good. And then you're also hiring people that weren't good enough to work with you for before, and making them be in charge of things and not giving them oversight, and so they're not doing well.
Yeah,
that tracks for me, honestly. I totally buy that.
But you're also conveniently leaving out the fact that they care more about the message than they do the story.
That is true. Although, hey, I will say that's one
which
thing
has had a huge impact
Kevin
on
Feige,
quality.
Was it Kevin or was it Bob Iger that said, like, this is something we need to work on? We need to not be more worried about the message than we are about the story. I think I've heard that one of those two directly said, we need to stop worrying more about the messaging than we are about the story.
Which we've been saying for years.
Yeah. So maybe one of them is at least picking up on the right things with that.
And we discussed the possibility of them having learned their lesson, like you said, like they've said, hey, we need to course correct. After completely scrapping 9 episodes of the Daredevil, they're saying, hey, okay, we'll listen to you. And we'll bring
After having specifically said that they're not bringing Nicky Black, they've decided to. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. That was such a good casting. But
they're amazing.
Yeah.
The problem, my big reservation, a step in the right direction. My reservation is, it's part of the MCU.
Yeah, if they're going to write it well, that's going to be the question.
I don't want it anywhere near the MCU right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what drew me to it in the first place. Was, hey, this is Daredevil, and it's Marvel. Like, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is going to be a great movie.
That's the other point.
Yeah,
I have to talk about Echo one more time. What was like the selling point of the show is it's R-rated.
Yeah, it's dark and gritty.
Echo, I only watched the first episode. That was the most G-rated, R-rated movie I've ever seen in my life.
It gets bloodier, it gets scorier, but not excessively. It gets to the most tame that Daredevil was. So like it gets to there, you know.
But Daredevil and Punisher got pretty gory there.
Like I said, it got to the minimum that those were. Those ones went way further. Absolutely.
My favorite scene is Kingpin with the car door.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh gosh,
it's just the perfect encapsulation of his character, and it's his introduction too. And you're like, okay, this is Kingpin.
He's brutal.
Did you guys see this?
Nope.
I'm showing my DMs. Oops. Okay, hold on. I gotta reshare the screen and share the audio. You know how Nerdrotic invented or coined the phrase MCU?
Is he the one that started that?
Did he coin that?
I believe he was the first one. He popularized it, if not invented it.
Yep.
They messed up. They said it.
Do they co-opt the phrase?
They said it.
Compared to what the other MC.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
So this is a panel. You can ignore these people.
Collider?
This is these people are watching, but this is a Collider interview, and this is not the person speaking. She's doing the sign language translation. The clip is amazing. Yeah.
You get to the fun part.
Yeah. It's going to be more, of course, a lot of blood, violence, guns involved as well. And it's very gritty. And it's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff that we've seen.
That's hilarious.
It's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff that we've seen.
It's beautiful.
Nicely done.
It's so beautiful. They messed up big time.
Yep.
In that same interview, though, I watched a part of it, and they were like, everyone's saying the only good thing about our show is that it's checking boxes and, diversity and stuff. But it does so much more. Like, we check boxes and we check boxes and just proceeded to list a bunch of boxes that they checked. Freudian slip. I don't think it was a Freudian slip. I think they wanted to say MCU. I think in private they say it.
Yeah.
They do definitely.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think they're proud of it. I don't think it was a Freudian slip. I think it was I think it was muscle memory.
Yeah.
Because we say it as a joke, and they say it because they're proud of it.
Either way, it's hilarious.
Yep. Oh man, there's too many things. Okay, so there's another one I wanted to show you of people being stupid, pretending that they like Star Wars. And Star Wars was always woke. So this is the lightsabers don't do damage anymore joke, right? Oh, but what about this one scene from the original 3 movies where he gets hit with a lightsaber and it doesn't do damage?
Because he partially blocks it with his lightsaber.
There you go, David. Look.
No. That was a separate swing.
He literally blocks it.
No, that's just hits his. No.
He's short.
Yeah. He does hit it, but then he deflects it away and blocks
exactly.
He doesn't take the full.
He
force.
does get hit, but not. Do you see the lightsaber? Do you see it?
Except that he stops right there. Like Vader stops there. He doesn't actually swing through and blow off the.
No, exactly.
thing.
Exactly. He blocks the shot. It's just that it's short. So the blade comes in and stops at the lightsaber, and it does dig into the armor. You literally see sparks fly off the armor.
But doing that. I don't think Vader's lightsaber does not touch Luke's lightsaber in this.
It literally does, dude.
Nope, not at all.
You can see it.
It's down below. It's down where his hand's at. It's below the hilt. It's below where the hilt's at.
No, it's not.
It's at the bottom there, but it blocked it partially.
Yeah. Honestly, because
it would be impossible for Luke's. Anyway, it would be impossible for Luke's lightsaber to travel any further. This was intentional. They have sparks coming off of his. Honestly, you can't say that this was a mistake.
They didn't have it as well, like dialed down as to how damaging these would be, and they probably were willing to let it bounce off of armor.
But this is the same scene where Luke gets his arm cut off.
Yeah, but he doesn't have armor. They were treating it a little differently than they eventually do, like when you get into the prequels. But like, yeah, it can still cut off the arm, but that's armor that he hit.
Technically, too, I mean, it could be made of Beskar, so it's like.
Yeah.
Maybe,
No,
but I
it's
don't
not,
think
though.
that's what they're going for either. I think it's just it's
No,
the same
it's-
sort of thing as to why Obi-Wan and Vader had such a clunky fight, because it was old and they hadn't really dialed in the like ideas that it would be bigger
Right.
than that.
I
And that's
agree.
fine.
They're-
And that's
But
why I also don't
imagine taking
hate-
this clip and using it to justify modern Star Wars.
The Mao.
To me, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not so mad at the way that that's handled the rest of the time. This is a situation where it's like it's done in a quick blink and you'll miss it. You know, it just happens, sort of thing. As opposed to they've repeatedly done this same thing, and it's not even that they don't like when you have Obi-Wan in Kenobi, and he's bouncing off of the stormtrooper's armor. That I see as being just fine in the same way where I'm like, it's kind of dumb, but fine. It's all right. When you have them being stabbed by the lightsaber over and over again, and that doesn't kill them, like a stab from anything would do, let alone a lightsaber, that is where I have a bigger problem. The one that I will defend is, again, in Ahsoka, I feel like, okay, they at least nodded to the idea that it was off to the side, not straight in the middle. But in Kenobi, when they stab the Reva character straight through the heart, and they twice, and she still doesn't die, that's the one that I agree lightsabers don't do damage anymore.
100%.
It's not that they bounced off of something that they shouldn't have bounced off of. Okay, fine, we'll figure that out. They stabbed somebody, and that should kill them, and they're not. And the biggest problem that I have with the Sabine being stabbed is that we had just seen Reva being stabbed and that not being important, and so this feels too much like it. Even though I feel like Ahsoka at least tried to nod to the fact that it was in the side in a less damaging part, whatever. That they handled a little differently, but again, it was just after they'd done such a terrible job of that in Kenobi that made it seem so much worse than it really was.
I don't like either one. I mean, if it was a quick stab, and then you get pushed back, fine. But no, it was like a stab and just like stay there. Like, no, you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm
not arguing that I like it or that they should have kept it in, but I can accept that one by itself if it was by itself. Right. I'm only mad at it because it followed those other ones that were much more egregious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that tweet was definitely funny though, because I mean, the fact that you do have to go back to the originals and be like, look, they're so inconsistent.
and honestly, that is actually still something that I look at, and that's why I still do give a little bit more of a pass than I think you guys often do, because we're looking at these other ones through nostalgia lenses, and that's okay.
But even then, the best example that they could come up with,
it to be better as they're getting better.
But the best example that they could come up with is easily explained, and I completely disagree that it's blocked. But
I don't think it's blocked, but
even if it's
either
not
way,
blocked,
I don't care.
Okay, it's 2-1 right now. Jared, make a vote. Is it blocked or is it bouncing off the armor?
I'd say it's too hard to tell because they kind of do that flash right
in
the first two.
No,
here's the thing.
They do flash in that frame.
You spineless cretin.
Look, I'm just saying it's too hard to tell. I
have an opinion for once in your life, Jared.
Your argument is true. It does look like it is getting blocked, even if it is a little low, but it looks like it might be a little late in the effect. And
no, it is.
So it could be choreography that's supposed to have been blocked, but it wasn't. Yeah. It looks like it bounces off, and it's because in reality, the sticks that they were throwing around,
they did bounce.
They did bounce off of his armor. I think that it legitimately in real life, it did bounce off of his armor.
Yes, in real life, it did. Yeah.
David Prowse actually got his arm into a position where it contributed in any way to Mark Hamill's lightsaber bouncing off.
Yeah.
I could see where you're arguing that like they maybe should have, or that's kind of what they were going for, but it looks to me like on the set, on the day, Mark Hamill just bounced off of David Prowse's shoulder.
Did you guys, one more. Did you guys see the deleted scene from the Marvels?
Probably not.
No, I heard about it though.
Okay. Oh, I also remembered another stupid thing from Echo. I got to go back to Echo one more time. I love
last
time. My favorite part of Echo is when she goes to the nightclub with her buddies. Right, this is right before the fight scene, and the bouncer has to pat her down, and then she beats the crap out of him for literally doing his job.
No. That I won't give you that one, because he first of all patted her down way more than he patted the other two dudes down, and he they explicitly show he did way more than just pat her down because he was
It was the
feeling up.
the most predictable scene ever.
Oh, it was.
You knew
absolutely.
going in, okay,
you knew it was going to come, and you knew it was the dumbest thing in the world. But like, they set it up and they presented what actually happened. So like, I will give that they actually showed him feeling her up and messing with her.
There was no squeezing. There was no squeezing.
Well,
he goes down.
They didn't show that. But here's the thing. This is
should have. If that's what they were going for, they should have shown some gravity.
But here's the thing.
They're
supposed to.
That it was way more than what they.
That's what you're supposed to do, though.
So he should have done it to the other guys as well.
Yeah.
I won't get with you on this one because that one was like, I can even agree that there's a little bit of it was telegraphed. You knew they were going to do it because they had.
You're
to make that
supposed to.
It's fine.
Feel for weapons.
Yes, you're right, but he didn't do it on the other two people. That arguably like had more that would be able to hide the stuff because she was wearing a lot tighter clothing, and especially down below the belt, like her clothing was a lot tighter than their clothing.
Well,
I missed. Like pat, done, get out of here. He did the same thing to her, then had her turn around, did extra padding, and went for the no.
I agree with that one, Beard. Here's the thing that's stupid though about that scene is that after that, they're in the door, literally, right? And then the guy's like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill them all," you know. And he's like
right there
to her, right next to the
right there,
door that has a
the one guy is
in
on it with them, maybe, but it was
okay.
Yeah.
So, this was a scene that was deleted from the Marvels for good reason. You will find out why. Pedophilia. And they decided to release it instead of bury it as deep as they possibly freaking could. So here you go. Here's the Marvels just unabashedly being creepy as heck. How old is Kamala Khan's character? 16.
16, yeah, because she was just getting her license in the show.
Okay. She's on Captain Marvel's ship because they did a switcheroosies. Blah, 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 blah. And we're going to skip. She just she sees the mask. She picks it up. Oh my goodness, I'm on Captain Marvel's ship. This is the important part right here.
Hello? Oh,
Oh. You guys hear?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Checking.
From New Asgard.
Hello?
Okay. She gets a voice call, right? From New Asgard.
Incoming call from New Asgard.
Hello? Oh, Captain, my captain.
Oh, it's our favorite character, Tessa Thompson from the Thor movies. They're so wonderful. Honestly, I didn't hate her in Thor Ragnarok. She was fine, and every appearance she's had since then has been completely insufferable.
Yeah, I agree.
Here we go.
You're not my captain. Captain Marvel Resonance, this is Miss Marvel speaking. How can... You're Valkyrie! 'Tis I. Wait, Mrs. Marvel. She got married again.
Because the joke in the movie is that they go to the planet where she's married. So first off, Valkyrie assumes that Captain Marvel married a 16-year-old, which is a little creepy, but don't worry, it gets worse.
Wait, Mrs. Marvel. She got married again, and no invite again.
No, I'm Ms. Marvel. We're not married. That would be. I'm single.
Yeah, the proper response to that was I'm 16, not I'm single. I'm available if you want.
So
I'm single means I'm available, right?
No, that's her flirting. She's like, oh, no, I'm single.
The only thing I'll give that and why I'm not mad at it is because as a 16-year-old, 16-year-olds think that they can get 16-year-olds not being developed enough will be wanting those adult it would have been a lot more of a problem if it was going the other direction because that's
does.
what the problem is.
Just wait. We haven't finished the clip.
All right.
Okay.
5 seconds to the jump point.
Oh, you might want to trip on. I mean, trip him.
That's a joke they probably shouldn't have had. Yep.
Yeah, that was bad.
Let's make a strap-on joke to a 16-year-old girl.
Wow.
And then it's stupid. I'm done. I'm done with Disney. They are creepy and gross and disgusting. Anyway.
Well, yeah, the problem with that too is that like these are on Disney Plus where kids are watching these shows.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not something that you would want your younger children.
No, they're literally encouraging 16-year-olds to flirt with older women.
Yeah. They don't need
that's what the scene is. Come on. That's what they're doing. Anyway, I thought this video was hilarious. I can't play it because but you guys should all check this out. Zack Snyder's it's basically someone has taken a New Hope.
I saw something like that, yeah.
Someone took a New Hope and edited it like
Zack
Snyder. It is hilarious. So it's this guy.
I think I've seen some of his videos before. He does some good edits.
It's hilarious. And I liked Rebel Moon, okay? But it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's very good. So
I'll have to take a look at that.
The best part about it is the flashbacks. So like he'll do like exposition through flashbacks and dubbing over like Vader's. So Vader monologues for like 10 minutes. and he's like, oh, this when before he confronts Obi-Wan, and it goes to flashbacks of them fighting on Mustafar, and he's just monologuing for so long. It's so good. It's so good.
Tell me that they play around with the slow-mo for no apparent reason.
Yes,
like,
in the worst possible times too. It's so good.
I've got it queued up. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway,
alrighty.
That's it. That's the show. Except Reacher, which there's no new information this week. Really, I have the same thing to say that I had to say last time. It's a really, really good show. And the theory that Jared and I had last week still holds true and could still be problematic for what they did in this episode. We were like, is the twist?
Yeah.
I still think that they're going to go for that twist. And if they do, it will have just as many problems. That could have explanations that might make sense if done well, but it's going to create a lot of like, well, why were they pretending for so long? I don't know.
So sorry to pull it back really to Zack Snyder's A New Hope, but the top comment I see on there was, "You guys laugh, but you need to wait until Aeronauts releases the full 43-minute R-rated cut of the video. Only then can you truly appreciate the cinematic brilliance of it." Which is
apparently coming out this summer, so it'll come out after part 2 is when we get the R-rated Snyder cut.
I actually think there's a good chance that it'll actually be better, but yeah,
I do too, man. The longer cuts, I'm telling you.
Well, and again, the idea of it not being restrained is, I think there's something to that, but it's just dumb and backwards the way they decided to make it. If they decided to do the R, but no, we also want to make it PG-13. But then and it becomes that whole thing of like, oh yeah, the Snyder cut stuff is a big thing, so we want to capitalize on it, having a one cut and then having a different cut.
I think it's fine.
It's like just stop. Like, it's one thing when it happened because of your classic studio interference with like, we don't think this is going to play well, but now that it's become a thing, like, you're doing it just to do the thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I also understand wanting a PG-13 cut that you can show to general audiences.
I do.
But if it's not as good, why would you want to show an inferior product, you know?
And like, wanting a PG-13 cut is one thing, but then saying like, hey, honestly, we're going to want you to do an R-rated cut and then cut it down to PG-13, as opposed to being like, hey, I know you shot all of this, but we do need it to be PG-13, cut it down. It just feels backwards. It sounds really similar, but it's just backwards.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's the way they used to do it, right? If they made a movie, it was R or whatever, and then they made it for TV, they would cut it out because you used to not be able to show that stuff on TV, right?
Uh-huh.
So anything you watched on TV was edited down to PG-13, and that's how it used to be for years, and now they're not doing that anymore. So go figure.
Reacher's super good. Watch Reacher. I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
This last episode was really good.
It was a good cliffhanger too.
I don't want to. Yeah, it's a good cliffhanger, which we kind of knew was coming.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a twist. It was just like, hey, get ready because these
Was that the
next
finale or is there
two
another
episodes. I think there's two more.
Two more?
There's two more episodes where you're like,
I don't even know.
It's gonna be good.
Dude, the thing is though with this show, it keeps getting me like where I'm like, wait, is this the last episode? No, okay, is this the last?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You never know anymore
The
because
next one could honestly be the next one.
None of it has been. None of it has been filler though. It's good.
Yeah.
With streaming shows, you never know anymore because they're like some of them are freaking 5 or 4 episodes, and some of them are 10. Some of them are
Okay. Here are my Netflix movies that I watched. They were all heist movies because I was in a mood. Okay.
Mistborn going on.
And the problem is I watched the best one first. And two of them have Pierce Brosnan because I literally watched it because I saw his face. Oh yeah, he's doing a movie. I'm gonna watch the crap out of that. I watched The Outlaws, which is Pierce Brosnan and Adam Devine, where like Adam Devine marries Pierce Brosnan's daughter.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And it turns out his parents are thieves.
Yeah, is it good?
It's a comedy. It's fun. It has some good jokes. It's a little bit over cringy at some points.
Okay.
I'd say it's like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Like I do not regret watching it. It was a fun movie.
Okay, good to know.
And then I watched The Misfits with Pierce Brosnan. Oh my gosh. I have never seen a movie that was trying so hard to be cool and failing so badly. It was one of the worst things I've seen. Like it was like Echo levels of cringe. This movie was awful. Pierce Brosnan was wonderful in it. And Tim Roth was fantastic because he always is. This movie was so cringy. They were doing the thing where it's a group of thieves, but they're good. They're the good guys. We only steal from bad people, and we never keep any of the money from ourselves. We're only stealing to make the world a better place because we're good people. And literally, one of the characters was her personality. Her character trait was, "I hate men," and she claims to be the good guys. I'm so good. And there are multiple scenes where she just murders innocent men because they're men. And you're like, this is really cringy. And also the plot was retarded and stupid. It made no sense. It was really, really trying to be a, Soderbergh. Oh my goodness.
That's how I've always heard it said is Soderbergh.
Soderbergh. It was trying so hard to be an Ocean's 11, and it failed so badly. And then I watched Lift. My voice, you can tell it's gone. I'm done for the night. Which is Kevin Hart. Kind of, it's comedic, but it's not a comedy. It's an action movie with comedy elements.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the new one that just barely came out.
Yeah,
right?
just barely came out. Oh, I'd say Misfits. Misfits is like a 3 out of 10, and Lift is like it's a 5 out of 10. It was much better than Misfits. Not nearly as good as Outlaws. It was a very mediocre movie that I'll never watch again. But I think I was just grateful that it wasn't the Misfits. Way over the top, super predictable, but had some funny, like clever ideas. There was one scene in the movie that I just didn't understand. Like, I was like, why is this here? They do the thing. So, okay, Ocean's 11, right? They have a unique problem that emerges, right? They have their plan and a problem emerges. And so they're like, oh, it's, I don't even remember what the problem was, but they're like, okay, how can we solve this problem? We need this machine that'll fix the problem, right? They say, and then they tell you what the machine does and how it fixes the problem, right? They go to that lab in New Mexico, and Matt Damon jumps out of the window to steal the machine, right? And they drive away in the van, and they use this machine to block out to fix their heist, right? And it fixes the problem that came up because they tell you what the machine does. They do the same thing in this movie, but the pinch, thank you. Yeah, it's the pinch, okay? But like, yeah, it's a sci-fi thing. You're like, this is something that doesn't exist in real life, and we've created a solution for it, and but this is, it shows the ingenuity of the characters problem solving and knowing things, and then improvising and adapting to fix a problem that comes up on the spot, right? They do the same thing in this movie, and it doesn't work because they don't tell you what the machine does.
See,
and how it solves the problem.
Do whatever they want it to do in the future.
They say, here's our plan. Oh no, but there's a problem. We won't be able to do this because of the problem. How can we solve the problem? Oh, use the machine. Okay. And they don't tell you what it does or how it solves the problem.
That's hilarious.
It was so funny. I was like, do you not understand the point of that scene in Ocean's 11? Like, what is this? Anyway, It wasn't very good. It was silly, but it was entertaining. I don't regret watching The Lift too. I think it was fine, but I'm gonna go and I've been sleeping all day is the problem, but I can breathe now.
That's good.
I haven't been able to breathe for the last 2 days.
Generally. Well, it's time for me to get out of here. I've got a movie night going on. So.
Anyway,
I'm here.
Next week, come on, watch Reacher. For once, there's a good show on. Watch it.
I got a lot to catch up on with that, though.
But I am not talking about Echo next week. What else comes? There's something else. I don't know. Reacher and.
You should send it out in the email when you send the email. Be like, oh, this is what we're talking about. You had that guest gen thing for a little while.
Yeah,
that could be helpful too.
Oh yeah, I need to make a whole list of. I need to do that of upcoming shows. So
maybe when you can breathe better. Yeah,
have some tea. I've had apple cider. I've been sipping on all night. Anyway, Lee Child, writes Reacher. It's a good show. Good show.
Oh, actually, I was gonna say too. I watched this Netflix show. Maybe I shouldn't even mention it because then you guys will spend time on Netflix instead of watching Reacher. You know what? I'm not gonna do it.
What is it? Tell me.
It's actually kind of interesting. We've been Amanda and I. We've been watching. It's called School Spirits. It's really interesting. Like it's about.
Okay, wait. Is it about alcoholics or ghosts?
Ghosts.
Okay.
So yeah, like this girl gets like killed on the school campus, and it's basically like she becomes a ghost, and so it's basically like she just pops up and she realizes she's a ghost and she's dead, and so she's basically trying to solve her murder while being like because she can't leave the school premises is because she's tied to that place where she was murdered. So it's pretty good. It's an interesting show. The premise has definitely been intriguing. So yeah.
All right, I'm out of here, you guys. Yeah.
I did find a good comedy though. Go away. But I started watching Tacoma FD on Netflix, which is it's like half the cast of like the Super Troopers doing a TV show about a fire department and it's basically the same thing. Like they just play pranks on each other, but it's a little bit raunchy, but it was pretty entertaining. It was pretty funny.
Okay.
It's kind of just that dumb, like lowbrow humor, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a good comedy. It's been a while since I've found like a good comfort comedy show. Because man, there haven't been good ones.
No,
I think the first, but there's like 4 seasons too. It's like oh, I found one that I haven't seen, and there's more. I think the only good one that recently came out, Tulsa King's good. It's not a comedy though. It's good. The animal
control.
Animal control was really good. It was way too short though. It was like 10 episodes, and it's a 20-minute comedy. You're like, come on, guys. It was a good show. Way too short.
Watched a couple.
I'm hoping that's just like a season 1 thing, but it felt like, hey, this might possibly come into its own to maybe fill the Parks and Recreation void.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too goofy right now. Like season 1 is a little too loosey goosey, not enough, humanity in it.
Yeah, I agree.
And Parks and Recreation had the opposite problem. Like it was a little bit too much The Office in season 1, and then loosens up as they find their groove. I think this needs to tighten up if they want it to be the same. But
I agree. Yep.
Animal Control's got potential. I liked it. So, but what is there anything else? I don't know. I need a good comedy.
Not anything recent. Like I said, on the Netflix binge, we've been doing I Think You Should Leave Now with Tim Robinson, and then my wife and I have been going back.
That's sketch comedy, though. That's like comedy you got to pay attention to,
Yeah, but I didn't.
You also need a sitcom you can just put on.
I didn't get it.
You don't.
The problem is it's too crude.
Okay.
There's so many crude things where I'm like,
watch episode 1 of season 2, the hot dog sketch. Okay, you will be laughing your head off.
I will say the one that you guys brought up about the birthday gift.
The birthday,
good.
It definitely was a little bit better because it went a little further. But actually,
some of them do get
weird. Then they took it crude, and I was like, oh guys, come on. Oh,
great!
It's great.
Great recommendation. Already watched it, but thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much for the $1.99. I think I've watched the IT Crowd like 4 times.
That's another show that I need to watch because I've seen several episodes, but I've never seen all of them.
Okay. I don't know what you're doing in your life. Just go.
I know, and I do customer support. Like I'm, like
you are
right up my alley.
Oh, it's such a good show.
It is
so good.
It's good.
That one's good.
Yeah, I've seen episode 1 like 10 times.
I can't tell you how many times I've like almost subscribed to Peacock just to rewatch Parks and Rec. I should probably just buy it. Parks and Rec it's like basically, I don't want to say on the same level as the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
No. But in like it's similar in that I keep coming back to it. Like I keep like Lord of the Rings once a year. I'll get the hankering of like, oh, I need to go watch the trilogy.
Yeah.
And Parks and Rec, like it's about like every 3 years I get like I should go watch all 7 seasons of Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is really good, and it stays. Everybody thinks The Office is better, which
it's absolutely not.
No,
The Office is good.
Office is fantastic. I love The Office, but yeah, it dwindles, especially after Michael Scott leaves. But Parks and Rec just keeps on getting better and better. It's so good. So, anyways, Flight of the Conchords. That's another one that Martina and I started watching because that's another one I've seen several episodes of and lots of the sketches, but I've never seen all the episodes back to back to back.
It's a shame we only got 2 seasons of that. 30 Rock is very funny. It's hard to binge. It's very repetitive. 30 Rock is really good to like once a week watch an episode. I've tried to watch it though. I can't get through it. It's hilarious, but never. Oh my gosh.
I know, I saw that one too.
Mark Clark, come on now.
I need to end the stream, Mark. Why are you bringing up something like that? Watch Parks and Rec, man. Season 1 is mediocre. Parks and Rec, because it's trying to be The Office.
Yep.
And then season 2 on, 10 out of 10. I'd say season 1 is like a 6. It's not bad. It's not great. The rest of it, 10 out of 10. The last season is like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Not quite as good, still wonderful.
And Chris Pratt, I think that's some of the best acting to date that he's ever done. He's so good in that role.
It's some of the best improv. Like the writer,
half of his lines that made it into the cut that are the most hilarious things, Chris Pratt just came up with on the spot.
Yeah, the writer is on record saying, "I hate Chris Pratt so much because he's so funny. Because I will write these hilarious scripts, and the scripts are phenomenal, and then he just shows up and he won't say his lines because he comes up with stuff that's better."
Yeah.
the network connectivity problems.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's the best line.
He wasn't even supposed to be in that scene.
Yeah.
Okay. The camera it just pans past him, but he literally like eyeballs the cameraman and says, "Pause on me because I have a joke."
Yeah. And it's the best line in the
It's
whole
the
series.
funniest joke of all time. It's the perfect joke. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then you got to watch all the outtakes because all of the raunchy jokes that he improvised that couldn't make it in but are so funny. The Kim Kardashian one is so good.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, I gotta go. I'm dying. We'll see you guys next week where we talk about at least Reacher and probably something else. I think there's something else coming out.
Wiping with the magic marker was another good improv they did. That's good. Yeah.
Oh no, what is that? Because when I heard the wiping, I thought of when he goes to the doctor. Sometimes when I poop, I just keep like 10 times.
That's the one.
With a magic marker though? Yeah. I remember that. So good. Anyway, also, no.
Good night.
I'm gonna go watch Parks and Rec.
Good night. Bye.
Bye. Go away. Bye. I'm dying.
Bye.
I can't find the button. Where's? Oh my gosh! There it is.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining. So please
please consider joining